Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 28th, 2026 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. Let me get this mic a little closer. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Please rise if you are physically able to. Otherwise, please rise in spirit, and I will ask Councilmember Corrado to lead us in the pledge tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will begin the open forum portion of our meeting in just a couple of minutes. Of course, the open forum is the portion of the meeting where members of the public can share their comments with the town board. If you are live streaming us on YouTube tonight, you'll have to log into Teams in order to speak during the open forum. There are instructions for doing so on the Town of Brighton webpage, www.brightonny.gov. We also, as we have done now for many, many years, we have our ASL interpreters with us tonight. Tonight, our interpreters are Samantha Geffen and Michael Fisher, two of our regulars. Thank you both. We appreciate the service you provide to the community. As a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, along with all of the materials we're relying on in making the decisions tonight, are available also on the town's webpage. Also, they're out on the table outside the room here. And we have one proclamation tonight, and I will invite Monica Gabel to join me at the podium. Yesterday was International Holocaust Day of Remembrance. It's observed on January 27th of each year on the anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp in 1945. It was designated as Holocaust Remembrance Day initially by the United Nations General Assembly in 2005. On Holocaust Remembrance Day, we mourn the 6 million Jews and millions of others who were murdered by Nazi Germany between 1933 and 1945. Tonight, we stand in solidarity with the memory of those murdered during the Holocaust as we say collectively in one voice, never again. I have with me here at the podium Monica Gabel, Brighton resident, who is the director of the Levine Center to End Hate, part of the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester, and Monica is here to receive the town's proclamation. Thank you so much for the great work you do at the Levine Center, the bus, and all of the other things you've got going on that I know you'll be talking about. But let me read this proclamation before I present it. Whereas International Holocaust Remembrance Day marks the anniversary of the liberation of the Nazi concentration and extermination camp of Auschwitz-Birkenau on January 27, 1945. Whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored, systematic persecution and annihilation of 6 million European Jews by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945. Non-Jews, such as Roma or Gypsies, people with disabilities, Poles, were also targeted for racial, ethnic, or national reasons, while millions more, including homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, and political dissidents of all kinds, also suffered grievous oppression and death under Nazi tyranny. Whereas Holocaust denial and distortion attempts to delegitimize the history of the Holocaust by twisting established facts about the size and causes of the Nazi genocide, and if left unchecked, threatens human rights and risks the continued promotion of conspiratorial thinking and violent extremism. And whereas the work of the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester, through the Center for Holocaust Awareness and Information, CHI, and the Levine Center to End Hate, preserves the history and living legacy of the Holocaust and promotes understanding between different groups in support of a safe, just, and civil society. Whereas together we bear the responsibility of remembering the Holocaust, educating others about the causes, consequences, and dynamics that enabled such heinous crimes to occur, and declaring that such crimes must never happen again. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, along with the members of the Brighton Town Council, do hereby recognize January 27, 2026 as International Holocaust Day of Remembrance in the town of Brighton. We thank the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester for its meaningful and numerous contributions to the betterment of the community. And we ask all Brightonians to remember the facts of the Holocaust and remain vigilant against hatred and persecution in all its forms. This proclamation is dated January 27, 2026, and it has been signed by all of the members of the Brighton Town Board.
Wow.
Monica, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. What an honor.
The honor is ours. The honor and the mourning is ours. And I'll let you
Thank you.
speak.
Wow. Well, this may be a little repetitive then, but it truly is an honor to receive this. I wanted to thank you, Supervisor Maley, and Town Council members, Corrado, Salzman, Sanguinetti, Werner, Chief Cataldi, and Misters Johnson, Mancuso, Johnson, Hafner, Layton, and Miss Lull, and Ms. Thank you, Ms. Kesselman. You're here, and that's important. Settle in. This is hopefully not too long, but last night I had the fortune to listen with nearly 300 people, a moderated conversation with the author Georgia Hunter. You might have heard that she was coming to Rochester. Her novel, We Were the Lucky Ones, was published in 2017 after about a decade of research that was initiated by a high school writing assignment. Until Georgia interviewed her grandmother, which was the assignment, interview a family member, she had never known until after his passing that her grandfather had survived the Holocaust. So at 15 years old, Georgia was suddenly exposed to stories that had never been told, and herself that was suddenly new to her. She discovered that she was Jewish. Georgia's family story is not only somewhat fictionalized in the novel, but also was recently recreated in a Hulu miniseries. It's still on, and you can still find it and stream it. Is very uncommon because despite its title, We Were the Lucky Ones, we readers don't know who is lucky enough to survive. It's a gripping story and moving, and Georgia had this to say in response to one audience member's question. What is the responsibility of a reader of a story like this? This is what she said. Whether Jewish or not Jewish, the responsibility is the same. Keep telling the stories. It's the only way people survive complete extinction. Georgia spent her afternoon with us and about 25 teachers who had come from as far away as Avon Central School District and Roberts Wesleyan University, and teachers in Brighton, of course, schools in Ontario and Monroe County and Wayne County, who all had something in common: an unwavering commitment to to informed, relevant, and powerful Holocaust pedagogy. After Georgia discussed how one high school assignment changed the trajectory of her life, our teachers broke into workshops about the power of place and why teachers of the Holocaust should visit places they teach about the power of story and the brain science behind using narratives to teach the Holocaust, and about how to best utilize with students the salvaged pages of diaries found in ditches written by children who did not survive the Holocaust. In a time when, as Mr. Maley said, Holocaust distortion and denial is at its highest, when swastikas are becoming more frequently seen in locker rooms and on Jewish day schools, when people try to normalize the characterization of Jews and Israelis as Nazis, and synagogues are set on fire, Jews are murdered in American cities because of their affiliations with the Jewish homeland, it's not hard for someone like me to see that we are at the precipice of a moment that will define us long after we're gone. Hate exists for so many reasons, and there are many forms of it. But hate for Jews is both the foundation from which all forms of hate are born and entirely different from them. And I'm not going to explain why. That's a training, and you can all sign up for that if you'd like. But when one's own racial biases and racism is identifiable, anti-Semitism can be overt or deceptively subtle. Thanks to Governor Hochul, Holocaust education is mandatory in New York State. Unfortunately, though, there exists no regulation around how aspects of the Holocaust are taught. So a student in Poughkeepsie might read the Diary of Anne Frank, and a student in Canisius may see a photograph of Nazis in a PowerPoint for 20 seconds while studying World War II, and both of their teachers will have technically satisfied the New York State Learning Standard. My job, not only as the granddaughter of 2 Holocaust survivors, but my literal job is to ensure that we are helping people understand how easily neighbor turned against neighbor, how quickly hate can consume a seemingly well-knit community, how each of us, Jewish or not, has the responsibility of learning the lessons of the Shoah, which has for each one of us, about what it means to stand up for what is right and humane, lawful, protected, and the courage it takes to speak on behalf of those who cannot. I'm proud to say that the Levine Center to End Hate at the Jewish Federation trained over 300 teachers and over 100 employees in the private sector last year about Jewish culture and anti-Semitism and more, brought the Mobile Museum of Tolerance, that big bus, to schools. It was recently at French Road. It's going to 12 Corners next week, to many schools in the greater Rochester area and a little bit beyond. We conducted a community-wide survey about perceptions and lived experiences of hate in the Rochester area. And we partner with the state's Department of Human Rights Hate and Bias Prevention Unit, HBPU, to provide anti-bias trainings of all kinds, as we will continue to do this year. We hope that you'll join us for one of these, continue to learn and telling the important stories and the lessons of the Shoah. And thank you so much again for recognizing this important day, not only in history, but in the present as well. Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you.
The honor is ours.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you so much, Monica. And hearing your words reminds me that your work is not done. Our work is not done. And I have no words. Thank you. Okay, we will now begin the open forum. We hold the open forum at the beginning of every town board meeting. Open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board concerning any matter relating to the town, whether or not it's an item on our agenda this evening. I have a few instructions for folks that are here in the room. And once I finish reading them, if you would like to speak during the open forum, please raise your hand. When I call on you, please come up to the podium to speak. If you are participating in the meeting remotely and you wish to speak during the open forum, as I mentioned before, you must first join the meeting on Teams. And again, there are detailed instructions for doing that on the webpage. Use the raised hand function once you join in Teams, and you'll be unmuted and allowed to speak. I ask all speakers during the open forum, whether in person or remotely, to please state your name and address before speaking. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. I will give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. If you have questions, we may not be able to answer them, particularly if your question relates to a matter that is not on the agenda this evening. But our goal here tonight and at every open forum that we hold at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity, the public, the opportunity to share your thoughts with us and for us to be able to listen thoughtfully to your words. So please, if you do speak, address your remarks to the town board and not to the room or to other speakers. Please avoid personal attacks and outbursts of any kind, including applause or boos or the like, during the open forum, out of your respect for the speakers and for the time of everyone here tonight. We'll warn anybody who does not follow those rules. Repeated failure to follow the rules or failure to follow other directions from the chair may result in your speaking privileges being ended, being directed to leave the meeting, or the early termination of the open forum, although I certainly don't expect any of those things to happen tonight. So with that, the open forum is now open. Is there anyone that would like to address the board, either here in person or remotely? Seeing none, we'll move into the business portion of the agenda. Chris, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda.
Before we do that, Mr. Supervisor, do you mind if I make a motion to amend the agenda?
Not at all?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion that we amend our agenda to allow a vote to approve Lauren Messy to the Planning Board. I sent a copy of the sample resolution. I did the best I could to John Mancuso earlier today. I believe he has a copy.
And I would ask that we, pursuant to the open meetings law, that's a matter that we take up in executive session at the end of our new business tonight, if that's acceptable to you.
Would we be able to come back out and vote in open session like we have for other candidates? And I'll tell you, just because Lauren here has made the trek in, and I understand that this could be a sensitive conversation because we're talking about residents, but because Lauren is here and because we've voted on other candidates in open session as well, if we want to talk in executive session, I'm agreeable to that. But if we could vote in open session.
Yeah, that is legally permissible, subject to the majority vote of the town board to go into executive session based on the discussion leading to the appointment of a particular person, and then whether to adjourn into regular session to take the vote or to hold it in executive session. Either is permissible. subject to majority vote.
Okay. And I think what I'd like to do is, while we're in executive session, we can make that call as to how to handle the vote.
May I ask why should we go into executive session if we haven't done it for previous appointments of candidates?
I think because, we sometimes have, and I believe it, since we have agreed to amend the agenda to add it on to new business, we'll take a vote on it. And if the board votes to hear it, to go into executive session to hear the matter, that's what we'll do. I would also ask that that we amend the agenda to add 2 items of communication. One relates to that. It's correspondence from Anthony Vallone and members of the planning board relating to appointing a member to the planning board, as well as a memorandum concerning the appointment of the Communications Task Force that was also entered at the Finance and Administrative Services Committee. And with those items added to new business and communication, can I have a motion? We have a motion by Chris. It was seconded by, did someone second that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Christine.
And
To approve the agenda.
I'm sorry, Supervisor, I just want to clarify. So we will go into executive session.
We'll
and then-
vote on whether to go into executive session.
Oh, okay, I understand. I was going to say, and then we vote to come back out.
And then in there, we'll decide exactly. Yeah.
Understood,
Yeah.
understood.
In terms of the motion to approve the agenda were...
As amended to include this item of new business, the appointment of a member to the planning board, and 2 items of communication.
That's
It's been moved and
Satisfactory.
seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none? Peggy, and hopefully I can get through tonight's meeting without calling you Dan. I failed last time. Peggy, please call the roll.
Sure. Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman,
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Okay. We have one public hearing on our agenda tonight. It's a public hearing under the town's tree law, Chapter 175 of the Town Code, to consider the removal of trees that are located at 64 Fair Oaks Avenue. And that, by the way, that's a 51-inch Norway maple. I'm sorry, no, that's a 33-inch Norway maple, a 51-inch Norway maple at 260 Edgemore Road, a 30-inch Norway maple at 80 Dunroven Lane, a 40-inch silver maple at 100 Edgeview Lane, a 51-inch silver maple at 40 Bonnie Bray Avenue, and a 48-inch silver maple at 165 Alamo Drive. And when I reference that inches, that's obviously not the height. That is what's called the diameter at breast height, which is how trees are commonly sized. Under our tree law, trees in the town right-of-way, 30 inches or more, must be approved not only by our town tree council, which is the Conservation Board, but also by the town board, and that's the purpose of this public hearing. Peggy, has the necessary legal notice been given for this public hearing?
Yes, on January 12th, 2026.
Thank you. Notice having been given, I declare this public hearing to be open. You will see in your packet very, very extensive materials on each of those trees, compiled by our arborist, Kyle Sears. I thank him for the breadth and scope of the work that he does every time we review trees. And I would ask that they be included in the record of this hearing. So I declare the public hearing to be open. Is there anyone here that would like to address the town board concerning any of these trees? I see no one here in the room, and I see no one on our teams. Therefore, I declare this public hearing to be closed. Christine, can I have a motion, please?
Sure. In the matter of the removal of a 33-inch Norway maple at 64 Fair Oaks Avenue, a 51-inch Norway maple at 260 Edgemore Road, a 30-inch Norway maple at 80 Dunroven Lane, a 40-inch silver maple at 100 Edgeview Lane, a 51-inch silver maple at 40 Bonnie Bray Avenue, and a 48-inch silver maple at 165 Alamo Drive. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll on the motion.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman,
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Nate, can I have a motion to receive and file the communications?
Bill, I move that we receive and file the communications.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman,
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Those two items of communication are, as I mentioned earlier, communication relating to the request to make an appointment to the planning board tonight, as well as a memorandum describing the communications task force that Councilmember Corrado will be leading. And I vote aye. Motion carries. Committee reports. Community services.
Community Services met on the 21st, so last Wednesday. Highlights from our first meeting of 2026 included a general discussion about the initiatives of the committee this year, things that we'll tackle, how we'll go about the work of the community. And in addition to staff currently officially assigned to the committee, Becky Cotter, our Director of Recreation, and Matt Beeman, the Superintendent of Parks, we have officially added Dr. Miriam Moore, our Chief Diversity Officer, to the committee, which unites a lot of the work that happens in Town Hall and across the town. We had an update from Dr. Moore. Busy season. We had the MLK event earlier this month, and she is busy planning the Black History Month event for Friday, February 20th at noon. It will be a fireside chat format with speakers to the community, soon to be announced. Parks are doing their winter work, troubleshooting electrical repairs at various locations, getting contracts underway for the spring season, and believe it or not, lining up mowing contractors because the grass will be visible again someday soon. We also, town staff are working very hard on working out the scheduling challenges that will come as the school district handles their field renovation. And also took note of St. John's on Elmwood Avenue, their snow storage process. They are currently plowing snow onto the Highland Crossing trailhead, which is not acceptable. That is a public trail. It's a public thoroughfare, and the snow cannot be piled up there, and just as it cannot be piled up in the street when your driveway plower comes by.
And I believe that in this latest snowstorm, they did get the message and
That's the
did
word I
not
heard,
plow
too.
into the trail.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Because those trails do get used
Yeah, they do.
year-round.
Absolutely.
Walkers and bikers alike.
Snowshoers and skiers as well.
This is true. We had a quick update on the renovations going on in the Brookside building. The Recreation Department is preparing for their move into renovated spaces. Also had an update on the Brickyard Trail Art Exhibition, so mark your calendars. It opens on March 7th, runs Saturdays and Sundays through the 22nd of March. And if you want to be there for the opening remarks, that will be Saturday the 7th at noon. And I believe information for submitting your artworks is available online on the Rec Department page. Other highlights, Tree Ambassadors, a program that has grown out of the Conservation Board's work on our town forest. We reviewed that proposal for organizing dedicated volunteers to keeping our trees alive, not just in the tree nursery, but also street trees and in the parks. So that will continue to move forward and formally launch soon. Additionally, the Conservation Board extends an invitation to the town board members to attend the February 10th meeting at 7 o'clock right here in this room. So council members, if you haven't already marked your calendars for that, we hope that you can attend. The Conservation Board wants to share insight and knowledge about trees.
And that will be a formal joint meeting
Yes.
of the two boards, public open meeting, and
Yeah.
right here in this room.
And the date and time again?
February 10th at 7 p.m. And it's, I apologize, it's on me to send out that, to resend the invitation that came initially last fall, now that we've set a date, or that the Conservation Board has set a date. Community-wide events, Clean Sweep, and the document shredding and electronics recycling events. Those were formerly under the management of two previous council members. As we look at the contracts that need to be signed and the coordination that has to happen within town hall, or amongst staff, we're going to be shifting the management, the leadership of those events to staff, because it ultimately comes down to our outstanding staff to execute most of the coordination of those events. So, but dates for those events will be set soon, especially as we get staff up and running on that. And I think the last two hot topics here, volunteer boards, since we've already had some discussion about how we go about finding and appointing and onboarding and supporting our volunteers as they serve on various boards. We're going to be working on formalizing a lot of that, providing providing more support for staff who staff those boards, providing more support for the residents who participate on them, and making process and policy a little clearer, a little more structured, so that we can answer a lot of questions like what happens after somebody submits their application. And last two things, the supervisor mentioned the ad hoc task force on town communications. We have a group of about a half dozen people who have agreed to serve on that. They will be taking a look at filling gaps in our communications processes, looking at what's working well, looking at what can be done better, and making a recommendation to the town on how to do that. And last, the community center project, we want to keep our eyes on that. We were not successful with the BRICS grant this past year. It looks like the state will have a second opportunity for that. I believe there's
75 million.
million set aside this year.
Yep.
Applications will be opening in March.
Well, I don't think they have
No, not
a
that
date
one
yet,
yet,
because it's in the budget,
It's in
but
the
the budget has to be approved before they can go
So
down
it was
that
the
road.
TAPS grant, that's March.
That is
Yes,
March,
yes.
yeah.
All right. And the TAPS grant is for the Multiversity Trail project. But although we weren't successful on the BRICS grant this past year, we're not stopping on our focus on getting funding in order and design and work underway for that. Next meeting of Community Services Committee is Thursday, not a Wednesday, but a Thursday, February 19th at 10 o'clock in the Brighton Recreation Center.
Thank you.
Christine, how were the members for the task force selected?
Informally, we looked at community leaders, like neighborhood leaders, folks who have participated in past open houses, other events, largely people who are in the communications professional realm.
Yeah. I applaud the effort. It's the first time I hear about it, but I applaud it. So thank you.
So we've got two people who have not yet, communication is the heart of everying. Trying to get
It's ironic.
right, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Trying to get a phone call lined up with some folks, but we'll be getting that underway, and you'll hear more about it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Clara, Finance.
Yes, I have to thank Councilmember Werner for chairing the meeting on my behalf. Thank you very much. Thank you as well for bringing me up to speed, so I'm happy to cover unless you want to.
I believe the items are on the agenda tonight for the most part, although there was an extended discussion on the permit, the cost of permits and generally the process of permitting here in the town. It was a very comprehensive analysis that Commissioner Layton has undertaken, and that's still under discussion.
Thank you, Chris. And just to point one item, one notable item as well for contracts was to renew our cyber insurance policy and increase the coverage of the policy.
I believe that's on the agenda, is that correct?
Yep, it is.
Thank you again, Chris.
The next meeting will be next week, Wednesday, is that correct?
February 4th?
It would be the 4th,
Yeah.
at 9 o'clock, 8:30.
8:30 a.m. Yep.
a.m. Yep. Thank you both. Public safety.
Bill, Public Safety has not met since our last board meeting, but our next meeting will be February 10th at 0800 hours.
Public Works.
Bill, we reported on the Public Works meeting for January at our last board meeting. The next Public Works meeting will be February the 10th, here in this room at 9 o'clock a.m.
9 o'clock a.m. is redundant, Mr. Werner.
0900? No, is that how?
Well, I don't know, at 9 o'clock p.m.,
You can say 9 o'clock in the
17,
morning
right?
or 9 a.m.
Did I say 9 o'clock?
You
in the
said
morning?
9 o'clock a.m.
in the morning. Well, 9 o'clock p.m., we may be still in a meeting with the Conservation Board.
There we go. Hopefully not that one.
Oh, but
Thank you.
I did want to mention, however, that there was a meeting put on by the New York State Department of Transportation to review, in the interim, they put on a meeting to review the upcoming proposal for renovations to Route 31, Monroe Avenue. Was very, very well attended. I believe over 200 people from the town, the community, took a look at the plans. There were three or four different stations where they could add their comments and also review the recommendations by the town as well. And we look forward to seeing how those will be integrated in the New York State plans.
Yeah. And I'll be talking more about that later as well, because it was a terrific turnout and a lot of input following that. So thank you. Thank you, Chris. New business, reading and approval of claims. Clara.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor. Earlier today, I reviewed the claims, which are totaling $1,304,583.12. Some notable claims include, to no one's surprise, $155,000 for road salt and approximately $310,000 for HVAC and plumbing services at the Town Hall project. All the claims appear to be in order, so I move that we have them approved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Malek.
Aye. Nate, the next matter.
The next matter seeks to accept a donation to the police department from Marjorie Alamo in the amount of $1,000 and amend the budget to reflect said revenue. I move that we approve this motion as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
We thank Ms. Alamo. Chief and I chatted about it. We're very pleased and very appreciative to have her generosity. Thank you. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Clara.
Yes. The next matter seeks to authorize a supervisor to enter into an agreement with Bisley for cyber insurance for a premium amount not to exceed $17,580 for calendar year 2026. I move that we approve the resolution before us as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second. Thank you, Chris. This is, as was referenced earlier, a matter that we gave some particular discussion to. The good news is actually that the base premium for our existing coverage actually went down a few $100s. But we had the opportunity to increase one of the important levels of coverage from $100,000 to $1 million. And we have seen, both in this area and in other places, governments at all levels, but in particular local governments, who may not have, as cybersecurity protocols as effectively in place, becoming impacted very, very seriously by cybersecurity breaches. And I think it was the recommendation of all of us at that meeting that this would be a small increase to pay to increase that coverage from $100,000 to $1 million. So that's the one change in the policy this year, and the corresponding increase in premium. We have a motion. It's been seconded. Further discussion.
And just a question, I see that the quote remains in effect until January 18th, and that the policy period is to be the 18th of January this year.
Yeah,
next
they
year.
have-
Has that-
yes, it
Are we
has.
approving this retroactively then, or?
They have extended our existing policy, so I believe that this new coverage will come into place like tomorrow.
Okay,
But they did
so we are not
agree.
without coverage right now?
Correct.
And the quote remains?
Correct.
Just don't click on any links, just in case. Wait one day.
Did you all successfully pass the phishing test this week? Oh, I passed. I got a gold star.
Well, before we take that vote, because I alluded to the fact that in some places they may not. That is part of what our IT department does. They do send out phishing and other things that we're expected to catch. And fortunately, most of the time, people do. But it's really important that we do that, and it's great part of our preventative medicine, if you will, to make sure that we don't get into cyber trouble. So, thanks for mentioning that. All right, now we have the motion. It's been seconded. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Chris.
Next item is to authorize the solicitation of bids for goods and services for the Public Works and Highways and Sewer Departments as included in the 2026 budget. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
This and the next item are annual matters that we do early in the year. We discuss them at the Finance Committee. Rather than authorize some of these things on an ongoing basis as they occur, these are items that we know, goods and services that we know we will need over the course of the year. We do every year, and accordingly, we take action to authorize going out to bid now. And sometimes, they may be purchased through state contract or other permitted contracting vehicles. So the motion was made, and Christine, did you second that? Yeah. Further discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. And the next one as well. Chris, why don't you
Bill,
do that?
that's to authorize the solicitation of bids for materials, equipment, and services for the Public Works and Highways and Sewers Departments as included in the 2026 budget. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And these are similar but different types of, for materials of various kinds and related equipment and services.
That's in the budget.
And it's already in the budget, and we go out for these every year.
Yes.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Clara, the last one, please.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to approve change orders with Milestone Construction Partners for the Town Hall renovation project in an amount not to exceed, sorry.
Yeah.
We have a amendment?
Yes.
Right, to this, not to exceed $1,790. And we have an addition to the package right here. I move that we approve the amended resolution before us as prepared by the supervisor?
The attorney to the town.
Oh, the attorney, okay. So John, you got to see it too. Okay,
Second.
okay, thank you.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, these are two small change orders, and one of them, we only were working off of an estimate initially, and that estimate went up $159 when it was actually priced out. But as you'll see here, two items. One, restoring some exposed plaster, and this is the area, if you recall the old town hall, and if you really go back in town hall, when the area that was the attorney's area now and the finance area was the judge's bench, and it was raised a little bit. And so this, there was some plaster that was exposed when that raised area was brought back to level, and so the cost of restoring that is in here, as well as a display board being framed right outside the clerk's office in the old town hall. And again, everybody's familiar with that. And that was $657 to accommodate a new video display there. So we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. And Nate, with your approval, I will push this last item that you've requested after the reports from the various positions, and then we'll make the motion to go into executive session. Matters of the supervisor, yes. I wanted to talk about the DOT meeting on their plans for Monroe Avenue. The turnout was exceptional, and it sort of felt like the gift that keeps on giving, because although you may have seen WXXI did a great story on it, I heard both from Channel 8 and from the DNC today. Local news has changed, and they saw the story on WXXI and decided they ought to cover it too. So they did. But I agree, Chris, I think there were easily 200 people. It was a 3-hour-long session. The room was full most of the time. There were 3 stations that the state DOT monitored, and our 4th one in the back of the room there had the town's suggested comments and changes to the state's proposal. And I think it's fair to say there's a lot of good improvements in the state's initial plan. In particular, I know we and staff feel good about the concept of a 3-lane road diet, 1 travel lane in each direction with a center turn lane. Where we don't quite agree with the state's plan, and this is a fight that unfortunately we fought on East Avenue several years ago. This project is taking place entirely within the curb line, which is a 40-foot curb line from side to side. Right now, there are 4 10-foot travel lanes that make up that 40 feet. What the state has proposed is a 10-foot travel lane in each direction, a 12-foot center turn lane, and 4-foot shoulders. The 4-foot shoulders is the problem, because under the state's engineering policies, they will not consider a shoulder to be a bike lane unless it's 5 feet wide. So the town's recommendation is that all 3 of those lanes should be 10-foot lanes, and then you have 10 feet left, 5 feet on each side, voila, you've got bike lanes. And you have met what the state tells us is their complete street policy. And we went through this on East Avenue. The center lane is the lane people spend the least amount of time in, right? You go into it to make a turn. And 2, at the slowest speed, because you're slowing down to make that turn. Logically, that makes it easier to make that lane a 10-foot lane. People are going slower and they're going a short distance. So I don't understand the state's logic, but I really appreciate not only the vast majority of the people that came here to the meeting, but also the overwhelming majority of probably 300+ written comments that we have received since the meeting, all encouraging that 5, 10, 10, 10, 5 configuration with bike lanes. So I'm hoping that the breadth and depth of the support for that configuration will resonate with the state. And I know it resonated with so many people that were here. Bruce Bellwood, the owner of Tut Hill Lighting, 3rd generation, 101 years in business. Bruce loves the idea because that configuration and some of the other suggested changes that we've made will act as an economic catalyst for businesses along the avenue. That's really important. We've got the opportunity with this project and the upcoming 10-year update of our comprehensive plan to focus on the Monroe Avenue corridor, to focus on the economic vitality and viability of the businesses along the corridor. This is one of the things that will help that. Some of the other proposals that we made that will also help are increasing the numbers of crosswalks. Christine, you led the charge on that, and getting people from side to side in the street helps in so many ways. It certainly promotes transit, which has been a long-standing challenge that, I'll just say it, RTS has not met. RTS has really, I believe, can do so much more to improve bus service, not only on the avenue, but on some of our other main corridors. But it helps people get from side to side. If you want to go from Tut Hill Lighting over to the Bop Shop, you get across the street. And having crosswalks, and particularly having crosswalks at those bus stops, where we also know people have to cross the street, just makes sense. Reducing the speed limit. The speed limit on Monroe Avenue in the city is 30 miles an hour. The Brighton section, particularly the section that we focused on, from the city line to the 12 corners, but then beyond, going past the schools, is so much more like the city than it is, once this work is done, than it is like the Pittsford section where the speed increases to 40. Reducing the speed, again, safety, all those folks that are crossing, walking, riding their bikes, but it also promotes economic activity. Slower speeds, you see the stores, you realize, oh, I'm going to stop at Lippman's. They got the best pastrami in town. And those are the things that you can do when you're going at 30, or maybe 32, as some people might speed a little bit. But at 40, 45, you're just heading out to Pittsford. We want people, this is our main street. This is our main street. And this project has the potential. And again, the state's off to a good start. I just think the comments that were in the town's suggestions will make a good project even better. So we're going to continue. We're in the process of compiling the input that we received, including these hundreds of letters after the fact. And I'm looking forward to discussing those with the DOT and hopefully getting those at least in part. One other thing I meant to mention, the traffic signal. The traffic signal at Warrington, Sylvan, and Monroe. The state, and I'm really not quite sure why, has proposed taking that traffic signal out.
They said it was $500,000 to replace it.
So safety for children crossing to shul versus the cost
Just
of a
saying,
traffic
that was
light.
their excuse they gave me when I asked the question.
Yep.
And I'm not 100% sure why they have to replace it. What they might have to do is, we didn't even talk about left turn, directed left turn lanes, but there is a traffic signal there now. We did. We heard from the shul. We heard from so many people wanting to keep that traffic signal. So, a lot of good things there.
And I add that we are really grateful for the support and advocacy of Reconnect Rochester. That organization is singularly focused on active transportation, and they are highly knowledgeable about the optimum standards, and they, along with the town, have developed a good relationship with the state DOT. So we think that partnership is going to help us advance the things that are still left to be implemented into that plan. And to the point of the bike lanes, just one additional point that the state has not remembered is that Monroe Avenue is a portion of the New York State Bike Route 5. So just as Elmwood Avenue is a portion of State Bike Route 5 and therefore needs fully signed, full-width bike lanes, Monroe Avenue needs the same as well. If the state is going to call it a bike route, it needs to be built as a bike route.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bill, I had the opportunity to have an extended discussion with a highway engineer, used to work for the DOT, and asked him could he explain why it is that the state is so insistent upon a wider turn lane. And he's now in private practice, so I'd like to think he didn't have a point of view, but nonetheless, he said, but the engineering standards for highways do require that turning lanes be the 11 or 12 feet. And I asked, well, why is that? He said, because it's not, those folks that are entering that to make a left-hand turn are not traveling in that lane, or ordinarily they do obey the lane width, but they're turning into it in the process of turning and oftentimes stopping to make a left-hand turn. And almost invariably, the tail end of the car is sticking out into, if the lane is narrower, it is sticking out into the travel lane. And that's why they make it that width. The truth of that, or the engineering reality, I don't know.
Two factors.
I would
One,
rather see a bike lane. There's no question.
number one, that's the state standards. But the county is.
County supports 10 feet.
10 feet.
And the
So-
Federal Highway Administration does support 10 feet as
I
well.
think in fairness, we should, I wanted to know why it was the state feels otherwise, so.
And two, you know, again, that when you have a 4-lane configuration, people are swerving, coming back and forth between lanes at high speed on the center turn lane. They're traveling very slowly, and they have just as much opportunity to get into the center of the lane as the person driving 40 and, you know, passing a car in the right and going to the left. And neither one of those explanations resonates with me nearly as much as the commitment to complete streets and including bike lanes. As someone who lives on Elmwood, I have seen more bicycle use on Elmwood. Is it Amsterdam? No, of course not. But it's never going to be if we don't give people the place to ride safely. I remember, you know, we've heard, why can't we have separated lanes? The short answer is because this is a curb-to-curb 40-foot project, and therefore the state won't be doing any work outside that area. But on Elmwood, Congressman Joe Morelli had gotten a commitment of funding to continue the cycle tracks, which are protected, wide, multimodal sidewalks effectively off of the roadway surface on Elmwood Avenue. You go over to Strong and you see those. He had gotten a commitment for funding to continue those from the city line all the way to the 12 Corners. The other party chose to take that out. And that's why we don't have protected cycle track type multimodal sidewalks on Elmwood. We got to do better. We've got to make this is a biking, walking, shopping, eating community, and we need to make that commitment to complete streets more than just a word. So, update on the, again, the Brookside, the Talmudical Institute renovations of the Brookside School. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, they are renovating the north wing of the school, which is where the town's Parks and Recreation departments will be moving after the work is done. That remediation is being done by a local licensed asbestos control firm, Rock Environmental. There'll be some work that needs to be done after the work on that wing is finished, but they're looking to finish that work in March. We will have to get the Recreation Department moved over there, and we'll also have to get the data infrastructure moved over there. But once that happens, that wing will become the home of our Parks and Recreation Department until we're able to complete a community center, which is still very much the plan. This is only our temporary home. And again, very important, we've spent a lot of time working with them to make sure they understand, A, all traffic has to enter off of Winton Road. They've been very good about that. And we've also arranged for a sort of carpooling arrangement where construction workers are parking at the farmer's market and then carpooling from there over to the rec department to minimize the impact on the very limited parking at Brookside School. So the project seems to be going well and slightly ahead of schedule, so that's always good to see. I also want to talk about what anybody that has turned on your computer or TV or TikTok or anything else has seen in recent weeks. The ICE takeover in Minneapolis, the killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy are inexcusable. The whole conduct of the immigration sweep is inexcusable. And so it's led people, of course, to talk to me about Brighton. I can tell you that, and the chief will tell you the same thing, the Brighton Police Department does not play any role in civil immigration enforcement. The Brighton Police Department will not assist ICE in their civil immigration enforcement. They won't expend resources in assisting ICE with any such enforcement unless they're compelled to do so by a court order. ICE doesn't operate with the same kind of warrant oversight that the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution clearly contemplates, requires. And I know there's litigation, but an administrative warrant issued by the boss of some ICE agent just doesn't, in my opinion, come close to meeting the legal standard for a Fourth Amendment warrant. Brighton does not discriminate in any way against people based on citizenship or immigration status in providing services, whether it's recreational services or issuing a handicap parking permit or a dog license in the clerk's office. We don't ask, we don't compile personal information on people relating to their immigration status, their citizenship status. And we don't, and haven't for many years, use ICE personnel or any other Border Patrol personnel as interpreters for any purpose. So we hope that ICE doesn't make a future stop in the level that they've done in Minneapolis here in Rochester or in Brighton. But I think it's important to know that those discussions have been going on. The law enforcement has had discussions, and we will not allow ICE to take over and run roughshod with their administrative warrants and the like. It's wrong, it's unconstitutional, and the killings have to stop. Matters of the town attorney.
Nothing tonight, Supervisor.
Matters of the town clerk.
Just a reminder that we are collecting town and county tax, and February 10th is the due date for first installment or full payment.
And do you want to talk a little, the whole postmark thing?
Yes, that's a thing.
Yeah.
We understand that the U.S. Postal Service has made some changes in how they are handling mail, which will impact, which could impact things that people expect to be delivered with a postmark of the date when it was mailed. So my understanding is the USPS says that you should not expect that something will get a USPS postmark necessarily on the day that you place it at the post office, in a blue box or something like that. The only way to guarantee that something gets a postmark on the day that you leave it with the post office is to go into a post office, go up to the counter, and ask them to hand cancel your envelope. So if somebody is or needing or wanting to mail a tax payment very close to the due date and they have to mail it, that's what they would need to do to ensure the postmark, because we do count either received date or U.S. Post Office postmark. There are definitely other ways to pay. People are always welcome to come into our office and pay. We have a 24/7 secure drop box at 2300 Elmwood for payments, which we check multiple times a day. But if you must mail, you need to know that mail procedures at the U.S. Post Office are working differently, I believe, beginning this month.
Thank you. Matters of the town board.
Bill, if I could just follow on the town clerk's report, express my appreciation for the postcards that have gone out to the community, reminding folks or educating them, in fact, that assessed values can be adjusted based upon their age and disabilities and so forth. And I don't know if my household was targeted because of the age aspect, but,
I got it too.
oh, you got it.
I believe it's.
And, but it did pique my wife's interest, and I said that we didn't qualify, so, for other reasons. But,
Always next year.
But I thought that was a very proactive process, and appreciate it very much.
That was Dan.
Yeah, he's really done a great job, and, you know, it was clear to him that people were familiar with sort of the headline exemptions, but there were some other things that were falling through the cracks for a lot of people. And thanks to the work he's done, the postcards, but other work that he's done publicizing those various exemptions, I know that participation has risen in some of these exemption programs significantly, so that's a great thing.
I think it reflects the approach of that office, of our town clerk's office, to be helpful to the community in every way Dan can think of.
Absolutely.
In fact, thank you.
Thanks on behalf of Dan.
Any other matters of the board? Then can I have a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment of a particular person?
Bill, I'll make the motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment of a particular person.
Second.
And if I could just add during the discussion period, again, we have the resident here with us tonight, and I just hope that, my colleagues would agree with me that it makes sense to have this conversation behind closed doors, but then to come out and let the resident know the result of that conversation. So I hope we could vote in public after the meeting.
Thank you.
And that will be decided in executive session?
Correct.
That's my understanding,
Yep.
right?
Yep. We have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the appointment of a particular person. It's been seconded. Unless there's further discussion, Peggy, please call the
I have a question. John, what's the procedure for a council member to get a topic on the agenda?
Well, there's several different ways. I mean, typically, we try to, from an organizational perspective, try to get that in advance. So if there's something before the board that you want on an agenda, supervisor's office, sometimes it comes to myself, sometimes, it could be a chair of a board, could be department head. So really just logistically getting it in the right in the supervisor's office in enough advance time as we're setting the agenda, which is typically about a week or so before the upcoming Wednesday meeting. So typically after FASC is done, those items form the primary genesis of the meeting schedule. I work with the supervisor's office then just to understand what is coming into town board, if there's other departments that may have business, which sometimes typically will happen if things come from DPW, for example, highway. Sometimes we get things in addition to the FASC agenda items. And so that's one way, things can get added to the agenda.
The most common way,
Most
of
common
course, is through the committee process.
Right.
So each committee, but particularly the Finance Committee, has items that go through the committee and are recommended for town board action.
Yep.
The vast majority of items on any board meeting's agenda have come through the committee process.
So if something comes up between those processes and the meeting, so sometimes we add things, the Tuesday before, the Monday before. Again, it's really a dialogue amongst the supervisor's office, the town attorney, to try to either amend the agenda, or if we're deciding like we did tonight, to have a board member come before the board, and at the time we are looking at approval of the agenda, if there's an item of business that you wish to add, you will do what Council Person Salzman did and ask that the board entertain an amendment of the agenda to add a particular item of new business to the agenda for board discussion.
And we, as an example, there are many items that we actually go through committee and the town board that don't have to. A good example is request for proposals or a request to go out for bids. that doesn't require town board action or committee action. In fact, most town boards don't have committees. We are, the level of transparency that we have because of the committee process is greater than really almost any other town in Monroe County. So you've got the opportunity to bring something up through committee. But again, Robert's Rules of Order, a board member can propose something, and if it's seconded, it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
So with that, we have a motion to go into executive session. Further discussion? Hearing none. Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Aye.
Supervisor Malick.
Aye. We may be coming back out into open session. I hate to have to ask our folks to stay, but if you would do that, because if we come back out of executive session into open session, I would ask that we resume the telecast at that point. So we'll go into executive session. The town board voted to come back out of executive session, and we will continue with new business. And I'm going to guess, Nate, you would like to make a motion.
Thank you, Bill. I move that we appoint Lauren Messy to the planning board for a term that, help me out here, John, that will end on December 31st, 2031.
Yes.
Second.
And just to be clear, based on the conversation we had, that end date is subject to,
Subject to verification, but it is intended to fill the balance of the unexpired term of former member Sanguinetti, who resigned that seat when she became a member of the town board.
Yes, thank you.
we have a motion, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
I vote nay, not on the basis of a negative vote for Ms. Messy, but to continue on with the process to interview 3 candidates, and hopefully she will be willing to continue to be considered. And I understand she's already submitted her application. That we complete that process and then make a final determination.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Following the recommendation from her future, hopefully, planning board colleagues, I vote aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. The motion passes. Congratulations. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Bill, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Peggy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye.